Hey Internet. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, we'll call it proper nutrition and supplementation. So when it comes to keeping exotic reptiles or even native reptiles in the hobby, we need to think about proper nutrition for them. So with snakes, for the most part, it's pretty easy to where most of the time, where are you going? You're going to be feeding them rats and rodents and things like that, to where the biggest thing you have to worry about that is overfeeding, to where we as a hobby, we have for a long time had a bit of a tendency to overfeed and make our snakes kind of fat, which will shorten the lifespan of our animals. And then things with like monitor lizards, like savanna monitors and stuff, will feed really heavily high protein and really fatty things, where in reality savanna monitors actually eat quite a few insects. So that can lead to fatty liver disease, which once again can shorten the lifespan of reptiles. So when we talk about proper nutrition, you need to do a little bit of research if you're getting any sort of reptile, but honestly probably specifically lizards, because it's a little bit more important when it comes to their health, where, wow, you are really active today. Proper nutrition supplementation. So for instance, this is one of our little leopard geckos here. We got her in as a rescue because she wasn't eating and she wasn't very healthy. And the reason why is because she wasn't giving proper nutrition or supplementation. So the biggest thing that we can do, the easiest thing we can do in the hobby, is varying the diet, specifically with lizards. I know with ball pythons, it's hard to do that because they'll just go on hunger strikes even when they have an item that they are accustomed and they do like to eat. But with lizards, it's very important to vary their diet because not everything has the same amount of nutrients. So with leopard geckos, changing up their menu with mealworms, superworms, crickets are not the best choice. Several different varieties of roaches, superworms, and things like that are a really good way to keep a healthy, balanced diet, because each one of those things have different amounts of protein and different vitamins and things like that. And gut loading is a good way to do that. And by gut loading, what that is in reference to is the prey items that you're going to be feeding off. So usually crickets and roaches, they'll feed a very vitamin rich food right before they feed your lizard. So that way the roaches or the crickets eat those, and then your lizard gets those too. But you always have to remember, we need to supplement by adding a vitamin and calcium supplement to their food. So they're sold in different commercial products. Just follow the follow the manufacturer's guidelines about the amount that you should be doing, but you should always try to supplement that in, because we can't give them the exact diet and the exact same thing that they would get in the wild. We do our best, and those commercially made calcium and multivitamin supplements do a very good job in helping with that. That is the reason why a lot of our lizards don't necessarily need UVB to live long, happy lives, because they are primarily nocturnal, but that doesn't mean they don't ever come out into the sunlight. And the sun helps them metabolize things. It gives them different vitamins. Like, even with people, if we don't see the light of day, we start to see detriments in our health. They need that too. But when you give them, supplementation of proper varied diets, as well as those calcium and multivitamin supplements, that will help in their lives. And what happens when they aren't given proper UVB or proper vitamins and proper calcium supplements, and their diets aren't being varied, you can see a very quick dramatic decline in their health. And so generally the most common thing that we talk about, that we think of when we talk about that, is MBD, or metabolic bone disease. What that means is that there is not enough calcium in their bones, and so they start to become first fragile and brittle, but then actually pliable, and that can never go away. It can never be, it can't be reversed. So this girl has MBD. We got her like that. Her sister is like that too, where you can see that on her wrists and hands, and even how she moves is a little bit different than a normally developed leopard gecko would be moving. And that's because she wasn't given the proper care that she needed, and we halted the MBD, and now you can see like her tail is nice and fat, her eyes are wide open, she's moving around, she's investigating, she's healthy. But MBD did happen because she wasn't given those proper things. And that's something that needs to be talked about when it comes to proper vitamins and supplements and stuff like that. Even with the herbivorous reptiles that we keep, like tortoises and things like that, those are also very important when it comes to proper nutrition and diet variation and supplements. And here's a good example of a herbivorous reptile that necessarily wasn't given the proper supplements and things like that. So this is Pinecone. She's our leopard tortoise. And as you can see, her shell looks a little weird, and I'm really sorry, Pinecone, you're not gonna like this a little bit. So you can see it's kind of shaped and it looks a little off. What that is we call that pyramiding, where in their shell, in their carapace, they start to kind of get really jagged, and then the shell starts to misshape. Now that possibly could have been because she was kept in too small of an enclosure when she was little, so it get really small. But what the pyramiding, we're not 100% sure of what the reason why it actually occurs all the time, but it is related to them not getting the proper nutrients and supplements that they need. So they weren't given a proper varied diet, and these guys, they need a lot of grass, a lot of dark leafy greens, very little fruit because it's really high in sugar. They don't need that sugar, as well as they need that calcium, they need that UVB, and they need that multivitamin to help them and to help them grow their carapace, as well as just stay healthy in general. We have our sulcata tortoise we're not going to bring out, but he's growing like a weed because he feeds exclusively on fresh dark leafy greens, very little fruit, Timothy hay, and he gets the vitamin supplements and he's getting the UVB at the proper height. So when we talk about UVB, it'll even show like on the back of the box the amount of distance between what size UVB bulb is and where the animal needs to be. And so you need to follow those directions as well as we have to remember, even though the light bulb can last a year, the UVB on a 12-hour on and off cycle only is good for about 6 months. So that means even though the light's on, they're not getting the UVB that they need, so that'll be a detriment to their health, and they need that to metabolize and to grow and live a healthy life. So a good trick that a lot of people do is they'll take a Sharpie and they'll write on an expiration date 6 months out from where the time is, so they know it's time to change that. And we do that on all of our light bulbs here. So that way, you know, we're giving them the best we possibly can. So we're giving them room, they're giving them the temps they need, but varied diet, vitamin and calcium supplement diet, and proper UVB specifically for the species, although there isn't a single animal that isn't going to benefit from some sort of UVB or light spectrum change. So, hope you guys did enjoy this video or got something out of it. Oh, Pinecone, I'm really sorry. She really doesn't like coming out of her box. She likes her little, I say box, it's a big giant tortoise pen that we showed off in a previous video. She does like it in there. She really doesn't like the smooth table because she can't really grip it with her little feetsies. But I hope you guys did like this video. I'm trying not to be too preachy and ranty, but proper varied diet is very important for the health of our animals. And that's something very easy that we can do to help improve their, their livelihood here in our care. So proper diet, varied diet, do your research, make sure that, you're getting your vitamins, your calcium supplements, you're doing your job when it comes to UVB and everything like that. So that way, these animals that we, love and care about, we're doing the best that we can for them. If you like this video, please let me know. Please like and subscribe. Give that a big old thumbs up. If you had any comments, questions, ideas for future episodes, put them down in the comments below if you can. Constructive criticism, always welcome. I want to know how I can improve this at all. We're constantly evolving and changing, just like everything else is too. But if you guys have any ideas or thoughts, I really want to hear them. Hit me up on Facebook, jzsreptiles, Instagram. We do daily uploads and other fun little things like that. And I will check you next time.